Folks, thank you all for EDM members who are here. If anybody who's here not part of EDM, but you snuck in, that's okay. That's good. You get to hear a fabulous speaker. I had a great conversation with Irad last week and have already seen him in elsewhere and know he's going to be giving a great presentation. Uh, MCOM direct messaging, our main primary tool that we always start off with is VAR AC. It also is spoken to a few other ways. One is the Eastern European form of VARAC, and then there's VARA AC. Any one of them is acceptable so long as we're going to talk about the product program that Irad developed. He is here at our request to explain how VAR-AC works, and then he'll also be giving a little bit of a special focus since it has become our primary MCOM tool for when all else fails. And he's already been told all means all, everything. You've guys seen this in the training, you've seen it in the videos. You have nothing but you, your radio, and whatever is your non-commercial power source and how you're going to find each other. He'll be talking about that. We're going to ask if you can please hold all questions until the end. Get out some paper and pencil, write down your questions so you won't forget because you could get a lot of information and then you'll forget about your question. We don't want you to do that. So with that, I'm going to ask one quick question. Is Dave, our other committee member, are you here? No, he is not. As a quick introduction for those of you who may not have been on our previous Zooms, we have Andy, Gary here as part of the steering committee, as well as myself. Andy, please say hello to the EDM members.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Glad to see everybody show up for this fine presentation we're about to have. Hope you all enjoy it, and I won't take up any more time. Next.
Andy is our main member who takes care of our team lists and membership and everything else, which at times gets very busy.
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood on American
All right, Casey Kasem is in the background for somebody. Please mute your microphone. David, who does all the fabulous writing of all of our documents and our learning capabilities and our exercises and drills. Did I leave anything out, David?
That's about it. Thanks, Rory. Hello to everybody. We're glad that you're all here today, and we're anxious to learn a lot. Really appreciate Irad coming today, and hope you're all ready for the 4-day hurricane exercise this next week. That's it.
Great, thank you. And for those of you who don't know me, because you haven't seen any of the videos, which is a terrible shame, Rory Griffin, also a steering committee member, and that's one of the main focuses I do is I do the videos, training part and messaging for what we're about. So with that, we turn it over to Irad, who is here from Israel, which is why we're doing it at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, our time. It is late in the afternoon on his side. Irad, the show is yours. Take as long as you need. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Rory, thank you very much for having me. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all. I may have been chatting with some of you using VAR-AC. I may have not. So I do hope that I'll have a chance to chat with you and see you on the air after this presentation. So I'll share my screen in a bit, just a little bit of introduction. I want to give you a little bit of the story behind VAR-AC, why I actually created it, and then we'll dig into the details. As Rory said, I'm going to leave time for questions. I'm going to leave enough time for questions. No worry about that. I'll do some live demos if necessary to show or answer some of the questions. You know, sometimes seeing is better than believing. So I'll try to share my screen and show you live examples. We'll specifically also focus on MCOM and not just in general about VAR-AC. My call sign is 4 Zulu 1 Alpha Charlie. I'm 46-year-old. I've been a ham radio operator for about from the age of 13, so that's quite a lot of time. I used to be from day one since I started ham radio. I used to be the digital guy on the group. The one that liked the digital modes. You know, I had the packet radio that was very popular in my shack. I was the first one to have a Pactor modem in Israel. I did Factor, GTOR, Clover, all those kind of things because I was a geek in terms of a PC guy. That's what I do for a living, by the way. And and at some point, life started, and I got married. I had kids. I had no time for ham radio, and then 20 years later, in my new QDH, I opened up the boxes, got my TS850 that was still working, and tried to call CQ with Pactor. Nobody answered. I said, okay, I get it. 1,000 euro to spend on a modem, that's too much. Let's see if we can do something about that. And I played with WinLink like you guys, like anybody else, and I found the VARA modem to be very effective. And then I say, hey, why not creating a mode that can use a modem, a software modem like VARA, which is pretty cheap, start with free and end up with 69 bucks if you really want the high speed levels, and create the chat experience. That was the what brought me into doing VARA in the beginning. It started as a project of 10 guys trying to play along, and at some point we got to where we are today. It has been a fantastic 3-year journey. Now let's dig in to VAR IC. I'm going to share a screen and I'm going to go through some stuff. Rory, just nod your head. Can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation? Not yet. One sec. How about now? All right.
Got
Can
it.
you see me
Thank you.
now?
Yep, all good.
Okay, cool. All right. So we have a lot of cover. We'll go fast. I won't go through every bullet here, but we'll try to cover some of the fundamental stuff that VAR IC can do. I'm pretty sure most of you already played with VAR IC, so you know the fundamentals. I'll try to skip the fundamentals and get to some of the exciting parts. But if you have any question about something which is, even if you think is basic, no worries, we'll have time to answer those in the end. So what is VAR IC? First is a point-to-point digital touch chat application. And if you leverage the VARA protocol, and as you know, VARA is an ARQ mode, meaning lossless data transfer, like TCP/IP. You never miss a bit. If you miss a bit, it will be retransmitted until you get it. So it's 100% delivery guaranteed platform, which is great for AMCOM, where you want to make sure that your data makes it to the other side. It's also super great with challenging SNRs, which means you can take it also as a very good QRP, especially if you're, you have power limits. Like with AMCOM, you need to operate with a battery, you want to save power, you want to work with 5 watts only to keep it up and running for a long time. It can work like FTH, so minus 21, minus 22 dB for a link. That is still doable with VAR AC. Yes, it will be slow, but the data will get there in the end sooner or later. I don't know if you know, but there is 3 versions of VARA that VAR IC can use. You have an HF version, VHF, UHF version, which is the FM version, and also a satellite. So VAR IC works with either modems. You just have to set it under your settings, and you can do VARA FM with 22 kbps. You can do satellites. I know in the United States the QO 100 is not accessible, but it's very accessible in South America and Europe. We already have 50,000 registered users, so the community is pretty big. If you look at PSK reporter, you could see there's at least 100 to 200 concurrent active stations at any given moment. I get this a lot, like VAR IC is for Windows, but it's not only for Windows, meaning it is compiled naturally for Windows because it's written in C#. But if you want to do, if you want to spend an hour or two, you can have it run on your Pi or Linux device. There's ways to do that. There's tons of documentation on the website and even videos from community members who has done it already. So the VARA modem, you already know this. I'll skip that, but it allows you to work at several speed levels. We in VARA ICs tend to stick with the 500 hertz just because we want to be efficient. That's because of the slot system that allows us to spread on the bandwidth, on the band in multiple locations, run concurrent QSOs. But you can also do 2.3 hertz. If you're in AMCOM activity, you want a higher speed and you have a single frequency that you want to share, that's fine. So how does it work? In terms of infrastructure, you have the VAR IC console, you have a VAR modem that needs to be running, and you have the VAR modem connected to your rig using the audio cables. That's a no-brainer. The other thing you need to do is you have to connect VAR IC to your rig through for CAT control. Because VAR IC controls PTT and control frequency changes. These are the two main functionalities that VAR IC does. Why frequency changes? Because one of the things that you can do with VAR IC is online real-time QSY while in a QSO. You can even skip bands. If bands condition goes down, you can skip from 20 meter to 40 meter, keeping the link active. So in order to do this, you can either do a direct CAT control through COM ports, or you can use any of the tools you already know, like what's that? OmniRig, and what's the other one? I forgot that we support.
HamLib.
HamLib, of course, you can do HamLib through TCP, and there's also the FLRig. Yeah, I just forgot about FLRig. That's one of my favorites, by the way, the FLRig. All right. So when you configure VAR IC for the first time, you don't have to tick all the boxes. The setting menu looks a bit different nowadays. It is more simplified, but generally you should configure where your modem is located. Like it's usually C drive/VARA, and you set your CAT control, meaning you set your rig for frequency read and so forth. Then you have tons of other settings that you can explore, like how to log your QSOs and how to deal with beacons and stuff, connecting DX cluster and stuff. These are not the essential. The essentials are these two. Now let's dig into the various features that we have. The first one is beacons. Beacons is as simple as it is, letting people know you're out there. Meaning if we all tune to the same frequency, we all turn our beacons on, we all know we're there. We'll see each other on this list. We'll see when was the last time we were heard, what was the signal. When we get to AMCOM, this is one of the ways for you to know who from your AMCOM team is currently online, accessible, and how well you can receive him. So you can decide which one you want to communicate based on the SNR levels. Beacons can be fired every 15 minutes, but in AMCOM conditions, you can take it down to every 5 minutes. Ping is like the internet ping. It's just sound check. So it does a very short connection to the other side, saying, hey, how can you hear me? They'll say, I hear you minus 11 dB, disconnect. That's it. It's a great way just to check if the station you want to connect before making an actual QSO can hear you loud and clear. There's another way of doing it through something called broadcasts. We'll get there later on. Let's just stop here for a second. I want to share my live VAR IC screen. So this is the VAR IC. Hold on. This is my VAR IC now, which is live and kicking on 20 meters. So one of the things you can see here, one second, let me just kill some applications because I have so many of them and Zoom is eating up all my resources. One sec. All right. So as you can see, I have some beacons that I just captured. There are some CQ calls, one from Echo Alpha 2, Echo Sierra Uniform from Spain. And if I want, I can just ping this guy here and see how he can hear me. So I right click, a call sign here, I can connect, I can ping, and pinging will actually now trigger the the connection. The frequency is currently in use. I'm turning on the volume so you can hear it. So it says waiting for frequency to clear. If you don't want to do this, like for example, you have a QRM on the frequency, there is something called ignore DCD. DCD is stands for data carriage detection, if I'm not mistaken. So Varasi just started the connection. So I'm connected now. I'm waiting for the signal report to come through. Got it, minus 9 dB and disconnection. So this is a ping. Let's continue. Now let's talk about the slot system. So since there cannot be two QSOs on the same frequency, like with FT8, you are all tuned to the same frequency, but every QSO is very narrow. So you can run multiple QSOs, but with Vara, that's not doable. So the way to work around it is by creating the slot system. So when you call CQ, for example, you can say, okay, once after I finish the CQ on the calling frequency, I'll be waiting on slot number 4 or slot number 3, and my rig will automatically QSY after the CQ. Slots are separated 750 hertz apart. So it's my rig will go, if it's slot number 1, it will go 750 hertz down. And if someone sees my CQ, my rig will automatically go there. For example, if I want to answer this dude CQ, he called on slot 11, but I heard the CQ on the calling frequency. All I need to do is double click it, and my rig will QSY to this frequency and will try to connect. This is where you see the frequency, by the way, that you're currently on. So Varasi takes care of all the QSY synchronization. And as I said, you can even do a QSY while in a QSO. So simultaneously, both of you can move. For example, if I connected you on the calling frequency, let's say we're all MCOM members, we're all on a calling frequency. I connected Rory, but I don't want to keep the calling frequency busy. No problems. Once after we're connected, I'm going to send a QSY invitation, and both stations will simultaneously move to the other frequency, leaving the calling frequency free for other connections or beacons. Calling frequencies are frequencies that you can decide. So when you create your own communities, you can decide on your own calling frequency. Varasi will align around this calling frequency, and the slot system will be spread around it automatically. You don't have to define all those slots. Once you set a frequency up here, the slot system will follow. I'll not talk about QSOs because we want to continue to the MCOM stuff, so I'm gonna skip. But while in a QSO, I'll just mention you have very nice experience of ease typing. You have an experience of sharing your SNR report. You can even see SNR on a graph. You can do emojis. You can do sounds. There's a lot of fun stuff. And you can see what messages are currently queued and so forth. So there's a lot of things you can do. I'll let you guys explore it if you haven't done so already. If you don't want to know where you can find some of those fun stuff, is that with Varasi, you have this button called gestures and tags. So the gesture will say like what can you do and what the effect will be on the other side. Like if you write cool, you'll get this smiling emoji with sunglasses. If you do ring, it will beep 3 times on the other side, so you grab the attention of the other operator if they're away of their station. So you have plenty of things you can explore here. Now, one of the things you will notice in Varasi is that there is a lot of documentation. Every time you do something like place your mouse on something you're not aware of or you're not sure what it does, you'll see all those tooltips with all the documentation. So you don't need to read a lot of documents. It's all up here. Very, very easy accessible. Just put your mouse on the button you're not sure what it does, and you'll get entire information. I invested a lot of time in doing this for you guys to easily navigate. When Varsi has a database, meaning every QSO is logged. Every beacon, every broadcast, we'll get a broadcast in a moment, is logged. So in order to access this database, there's certain ways you can do this. So for example, I remember having a QSO with my friend November Charlie 3 Zulu. So I can go to tools, call sign history, and I can grab his information. So I'm going to do November Charlie 3 Zulu history lookup, and we'll grab all the things that I had from Gary. So I see all his previous beacons. I'll see all his CQs. I see previous QSOs we had. I see previous broadcast he sent me, and so forth. So I can see everything. Although my PC is killing me here, and I can see even all the history of chats, including, by the way, images that we sent to each other, because VAR-IC also allows you to send files, and those files are presented inline the chats, so you can even see images. Not sure where it is. I need to scroll slowly here. Let me just maybe here we'll find something. Let me just clear some memory. Zoom is eating up all my resources. I'm gonna kill some apps. Okay, never mind. We'll look at images in a moment. Back to the presentation. So everything. So you have a trail. This is also very important for AMCOM. You have a paper trail for everything. So if you were connected to somebody, you delivered messages. It's all in the database. You don't have to print it. You don't have to look it up in files. It's all accessible from a single location. We are integrated to PSK Reporter. I'll not elaborate about this thing now because we don't have much time. And we also integrate with plenty of QSO logging systems. The majority of the big ones are here. So it's all under the settings. It's very easy to do. There's also a link on the website on the some of those tools need some tweaking on their end to accept logging. So the VAR-IC website, which is very, very informative, has a page just about what you need to do in each of those apps to make this integration work. Now let's talk about one of the important things that VAR-IC does. We have something that we call a vmail. V stands for VAR-IC. So it's like an email, but in VAR-IC. It doesn't speak to the outer world. It's not like with WinLink. It's an internal email mechanism that you can send messages from one station to another, but not only. You can park messages at a mediator, and this message will be forwarded to the destination once it pops up somewhere. So the vmail system can do a one-to-one or one-to-one-to-one, and there's many ways in which you can do this. We have GPS integration. This is also great for AMCOM because if you're located someplace and you have those, $1 GPS devices from AliExpress or whatever, we all have those things. No problem. There's a way to integrate it, and it will show up here. And you can also send your exact latitude parameters in a QSO. You have tags to do this. So you can send your exact location. I think this is something which is pretty useful in terms of QSOs. So tags, remember the gesture button here. So it also show you what tags you have. So if you want to send your current exact location, so you can use the GPS lock tag. So you just type GPS lock, and it will send your exact location that was last pulled from your GPS. This is also very useful in AMCOM, where you want to tell people where you're at exactly, not just with a locator, a ham radio locator. Relay notification, vmail relay notification is a great mechanism to get to a third, to send a message across to somebody you don't have direct access to. So we have a cool feature called a Pathfinder. Pathfinder works like this. Let me run it now in live, and then I'll continue with the presentation. And we wait until a second. Let me just, sorry. So Pathfinder is a tool that allows me to know what is the best way to get to somebody that I don't have great connection to. So let's say I'm going to do Pathfinder to Sugar Victor 1 United Yankee. That's a friend of mine in Greece. I'm going to do a find path. My rig will key in a moment. So what I'm actually doing now, I'm sending a request to the universe, saying, who heard SV1 United Yankee lately? And what was the SNR level that you heard? In a moment, I'll start to see some replies here. Yeah, let's go back to the presentation. Once we have those, we'll continue. So once I get best station to deliver my message to, I will connect this mediator. I will park a Vmail there, so you connect, and you will wait there until Sugar Victor 1 United Yankee will beacon. And when he will beacon, the mediator will signal him using the relay notification, say, hey, dude, there's a Vmail here waiting for you. Come to collect it. They will get the notification on their screen, like a very flashing light saying there's a relay notification. It will tell them where to connect. So the relay notifications are here. So these are relay notification I have received that says, I have a message parked here. I have a message parked here. I need to come and collect it, which I haven't done for quite some time, as you can see. Here you see, I got a message from Italy Zulu 3, X-ray November Juliet. It says, I heard Sugar Victor 1 United Yankee on 20 meters, about an hour. In the last hour, he was minus 16 dB. So he may be a good candidate for me to connect, leave a message for my friend in Greece. Let's continue. Oh, sorry. Now let's talk about broadcasts. Broadcasts are messages that you can send to multiple people at the same time. Think of it as an asynchronous message, like sending it out. There's no delivery guaranteed. No one will say, I got it. But this is a way to signal everybody something, but it'll signal everybody. So you can send a broadcast to all. You can also send a broadcast to a specific user. And broadcasts can be used for group chat. If you have a good communication with your guys, there are some roundtables going on with broadcasts in numerous places over the world where people just do group chat through broadcasts. This is a great tool to signal your entire population that something has happened. You can send alerts to multiple stations rather than just connecting one after the other, which can be very, very tiring. I mentioned the QSO, will not get into this, but remember, VRC allows you to do QSY, sorry, allows you to do QSY. There's two ways of QSY. You can even go up, down. This is like a very quick QSY, like go up a slot, go down a slot, or let's hit any frequency, even beyond the slot system. For example, as I said, I connected Rory on 20 meters. We're having a connection for about an hour. Condition drop down. I know that 40 meter is a good place to be right now. I'll send him a QSY invitation. Both stations will move simultaneously, automatically. You don't have to do anything. Okay, we talked about tags and gestures. Now let's talk about alert tags. So this is where the MCOM piece kicks in. So alert tags is a way for you as a group to decide how you want to conceive certain messages to drag your attention. So you can say every time somebody says SOS, or say WX alert, or say hurricane alert, or whatever, you as a group can decide on the formats, meaning that every time someone will say WX somewhere, you will get an alert. Let's see how it looks like. One sec. Where is it? Zoom is really messing up with my screen. One second. Okay, let me just close it. Wait, I'll just reopen it. One moment. All right. By the way, as you can see, from the moment you launch VAR IC, it will go back to exactly where we were. So you can, by the way, change it if you want, but it will load everything to the screen so you don't lose a call, a CQ or a beacon or a message. As you can see, I got a lot of Pathfinder's answers, by the way, from various stations for my Pathfinder. So probably I will pick this station because it has the best connectivity with my destination. So we were talking about alert tags. So when you go to settings and you go to alert tag configuration, this is where you can define your alert tags. So say every time I see a fire, the word fire, I want the message to be colored in lime with a background color red. You also have a way to see how it can look like. Let me just do it like in white. And this is like a description that you can give, and you can say where I want to track this keyword. In a beacon, in a CQ, in a broadcast, or in a data stream. Data stream is where you actually do QSOs. So once you have received this text someplace, it will be colored. I think that it even works when you do it. So let's say I'm going to send a broadcast with the word WX alert test. So you don't hear it because you don't hear my PC sound at the moment, or maybe because I disabled all the sound. Okay, I muted all the sounds. But not only it will look different on your screen, it will also make a very annoying alarm sound. So you know there is something going on. Let's say you missed it, no problem. You see the alert flash here. It will be lit in red if you have an active alert. You're going to click it. Here are all the alerts that you have received, and here's the alert that I got from this dude who sent this, and the alert tag was POTA. I track POTA, so he said something about POTA. I got an alert about this. Once I read all the alerts, or I can clear them all, or I can archive them all, so you can see you have incoming, sent, archive. So these are history of alerts that you have received. You don't lose anything. You can just archive them or archive all alerts. And now my flash is off. Next time I'll get an alert, I'll get a notification. Let's continue. File transfer. Yes, you can do it with VAR-IC. You can even send pictures. They will appear inline the chat, and you have a compression tool. So if you have a picture and it's big, VAR-IC will try to tell you how much time it will take to send this image to the other side. So when you pick an image and when you try to control it, you can play with the resolution and quality and see the actual size it will be, and will tell you like what time it will take to send it with the latest SNR report you got from the station you're currently connected to. So it anticipates it will take 2 to 4 minutes to send this picture. You can include on the picture like the SNR report, the call sign, So you like with SSTV, you can include some stuff here if you want. Okay. Let's continue. Now here's another thing which is important, profiles. Sometimes you have different rigs, right? You have a rig for 20 meters, you have a rig for 40 because these are different antennas, and there's an easy way to switch, no problem. So you see here, now I'm currently with my VAR-IC profile, but if I click it, I have numerous profiles here that I can move to. Every profile has a different configuration file. It will launch with the different settings of connecting this rig using this methodology, with the different calling frequencies if I want. So you can switch between configurations. You don't have to have multiple VAR-IC installations. You can have a single one, just use this feature. I want to leave some time for questions, so let me just run through some more important things. Let's talk specifically about AMCOM. So these are the features that we leverage in an AMCOM situation with VAR-IC. Broadcast beacons, alert tags, DGPting. This is for VAR-IFM. I know your focus is HF, so I'll not dig into this. Forms and frequency scheduler. What are these and how you leverage them in AMCOM situation? So broadcasts. This is a great way to send alerts in multiple destinations at once. If you connect it with alert tags, that's a fantastic way to say, hurricane alert, guys, pay attention. It will adapt the speed level for optimal delivery, meaning the longer the message will be, the higher BPS level it will take. So if you want to be efficient, like sending it at the lowest speed, so it will get through even at minus 20 dB, VAR-IC will indicate while you type the message when it moves from one speed level to another and what is the optimal receiving signal. So you have clear visibility for this. Let me just show you this. When you do broadcast, and when I start to type a message, now it says, listen, this message, which is just 2, will be sent at SL1, which is the best reception at minus, it can be received at minus 22. If I start typing in, this will be SL2 with minus 18 dB and so forth. So you can see exactly, or you can expect who and or how your message will be received. Beacons, as I said, it's a great way to know who from your AMCOM members is currently online. So you know, so it's like a check-in mechanism for your AMCOM team. It's also a great way to assess the propagation to each of the members in your AMCOM group. As I said, in AMCOM mode, you can change the intervals. How you do this? Well, VAR-IC has an AMCOM mode. You see up here, you have a mode. You would probably work in simple or advanced for regular QSO, but when you move to AMCOM, it first says, hey, listen, don't do this on VAR-IC official frequencies unless you're in a real emergency situation. So if you're in a drill, go to your own calling frequency, do it over there. Now VAR-IC changes a little bit. There's some stuff that is less, that is now not accessible, and as other is. And under the settings, if you want to change your beacon, like every 5 seconds, so under CQ and beacon, you can now go to as low as 5 minutes. This is only possible in AMCOM mode. In regular mode, the minimum is 15. There's another important thing with AMCOM mode. When you now do a beacon, it will be appeared on the list in red. So everybody knows that this station is in an AMCOM situation or an AMCOM drill. So it is highly visible on this list for everybody on the frequency. Alert Center, already talked about this. There's nothing more to say. I think it speaks for itself. Forms and templates. Well, I know you know forms from WinLink, the fancy HTML forms, which is very, very useful. However, there is a simple version of this in VAR-IC, and you can add your own. So if you want to create standards messages, Only in MCOM mode, you have to switch to MCOM mode first. If you send a vmail, you will have load a template here. And now you can pick any of the 4 predefined templates, but you can add your own. So standard ICS 213 general message, that's a predefined text here. You can just fill in the blanks. It's not an HTML format, but on the other hand, it is very efficient because HTML file is pretty big with lots of tags, lots of text that you don't need. And in poor condition, it just takes too much time to send over HF. But here, plain text is going to be sent to the other side. So you can even create one. Let me show you how you do this. In the var.ic directory, you have something called var.ic template.ini. Just edit it with a simple notepad. As you can see, these are the 4 predefined messages that you get out of the box. You can create a 4th one. Let me just copy paste one of them. Let's say ICS Irad, general message. And I say, hello, EDM group. NL stands for new line. How are you? I'm going to save it. And that's it. Now, all you have to do is to distribute this file throughout your entire group. And if you want to use this, you send an email, and there you go. You have an ICS Irad template that you can now use with your community. Frequency scheduler is the last feature here. Frequency scheduler allows you to move from one frequency to the other at a given times. Meaning, if you're in a 24-hour situation or a drill, and you want to switch between 3 brands across the day, and you want to make sure everybody in your group is doing the same thing at the same time, even while in the QSO, then you use the frequency scheduler. So frequency scheduler looks like this. You see frequency scheduler here. You can do settings, edit frequency. Sorry, not this. Where's that? Frequency scheduler. So you can say, okay, at 18 UTC, I want to switch to this frequency. At 4 UTC, I want to switch to this frequency. And now in order to enable, you click here, frequency scheduler on. It will now move at these exact times. Now, if you want to share it with your entire group, so everybody is aligned, you want to create a kit of ICS messages of your own, like the one I showed you, and frequencies. So you have a file called var.ic frequencies. So what you've just seen is kept in this file. It is simple text file that you can send to your community members. It will hold all the frequencies, and var.ic will be able to read it. I'll spend 3 more minutes about var.ic, and then I'll leave it for you for a Q&A. One sec. All right, so in the website in the var.ic website, you have an MCOM tab here. If you go there, you'll find out this, the MCOM Technical Scenario Guide. This is specifically designed for MCOM groups. There is a lot of MCOM groups all across the world who is leveraging var.ic. There is one big one in Hawaii that I know. There is a big one in Italy. There is a big one in Greece, in the UK, that they're using var.ic for MCOM. Now, this is actually like a quick guide for how you can achieve numerous things with var.ic. For example, technical need number 1, check-ins. So you have multiple stations, all tuned to the same frequencies. They're all beaconing. You can do this even through digipeater if you're using Vara FM. In HF, it's not doable. So this is one way of doing check-ins. Technical number 2 is sending an emergency alert to all. Everybody is tuned to the same frequency. You do a broadcast to all, and you get alerts using the alert tags. You get alerts on. So it's like summarizing everything I just said in specific scenario, and you can see how you can do each and everything, and what are the features that are involved in each and every scenario. So send an emergency email without direct link to your destination. Remember the relay notification mechanism I mentioned? This explains exactly how it's done. Group chats, roundtable check-ins, live chat between stations with no direct link. This is only doable with VAR FM. Yes, you can do one-to-one connection through a mediator with VAR FM. Find a email path. I showed you how this is done. So it's all in here, including even like if you want to have to make sure you have checked everything and you have practiced everything. I even gave you this form that you can use during your drills. So that's about it. Now it is time for questions. So Rory, maybe you want to run the show with opening mics here.
Irad, first, thank you so very much. I know you put a lot in there, but the good news is that since we are recording this, we will be posting it in our group's IO so people can refer this to later who were here, and of course, those who are not able to make it. Thank you so very much. And for everybody else, I did put it in a chat. We will be taking the whole MCOM portion. I'll create a mini version of that video as well, so you can just focus in on that. Before we get with the questions, just things to maybe pop up some questions in your head that could help you out. Think about how you might be able to use some of these things for your local area, your served agency, since that is the end game of what we're about. Alerts, very much depending upon locale, can be very important. And then specifically, whatever is when your all else fails time comes up, your EDM time, quick communications when predefined in your EOP using the alert function, as we have done so in our exercises prior. If anybody wants to ask a question, otherwise I will at the end about the two VAR HF modems running, if you noticed, one on monitor only. If you don't know how to do you want to ask a question, if you go to the bottom of your screen, there should be something just called raise hand, and it'll put up, if you look at my screen, you'll see the hand come on and off. Just do that. And this way we know that you're the one who wants to talk. We'll let Irad keep his sharing going on because that could be useful for any of the questions. So anybody have, yep. Greg Lane, please go ahead with your question. You can all unmute as you need to. Just mute back when you're done. Greg, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Clearly, go ahead.
Oh, okay. On the frequency list, where Rory's got us on NCOM. On mine, I've, edited it so where I have the VAR AC and our NCOM frequencies, whatnot. But is there another way that we could have a box, if you will, that so that my pull down is not so long to select frequencies, a way to customize, you might say, NCOM suggested frequencies that we use? And it's sort of a complicated question because in our drill that's coming up, we have assigned frequencies to use on certain bands in order to do our broadcast, in order to listen for stations that can hear us, and then using that as sort of a check-in basis. So it's not like we have an established network of a established NCOM frequency to do check-ins first and then deal with messages or traffics in a WinLink point-to-point method. But your program seems that if we added some of those WinLink standard forms, we'd be able to accomplish it without even having to toggle back to a point-to-point, since we're already connected point-to-point to certain stations. So put a lot there out for comment. So it may not have been a very good question, but it's just something that I've experienced and reading all the stuff that's on your webpage. There's a lot of things to work with in the practice here that but that's somewhat beyond, I think, our upcoming hurricane drill. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
David, I'm going to
Greg.
let you get the involvement if Irad has any trouble, because there was a lot in there having to do with the exercise that Irad has not seen. Irad, is there any part of the question you didn't quite get? You need clarification on anything?
Yeah, I only got, so I heard the entire statement, but I haven't got a specific question beyond, like, how do you tackle a long list?
David,
Yeah,
was there
right.
anything else that you heard in there that would be part of what he was looking for?
Yeah, how to custom, I've customized it. It's got a long list, but how could I customize it just specifically for the frequencies that I'd want to, make certain chunks of it, then a long list to go down and tag.
Well,
That's what I'm trying to
one
say is different frequency pull downs for the applications I would like to use.
All right. So one of the ways, so I think the best way to achieve this is, let's say you want to have two VAR ICs, right? You want to have a VAR IC for your AMCOM drills, and you have a VAR IC for your day-to-day use.
Right.
So you don't have to squeeze everything. This is where profile kicks in. So you can switch between profiles, or you can simply have the different VAR IC installations, and you can switch between those. I don't have any like sub menu, like having, so what you suggest is grouping, like create groups here. This is something I will take a note of, that maybe I will come up with this feature. So rather than have a long list, you will have groups like AMCOM, day-to-day, friends and family, whatever. And within
Right.
those, you will have a multiple. This is maybe something, and so I'll take a note of this. This is a good opportunity for me to learn like about your use cases. So if I don't have any, I'll definitely put it in my to-do list.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up, I can't see who it is. I got the. Greg, can you bring your hand down? Unraise your hand. And I don't have everybody's pictures in a good location for my spot. My apologies. Who's next up? I'm sorry, I can't see it. Oh, there we go. Marty, Alpha Echo 0 November Romeo. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. Hey, you can hear me okay?
Clearly, go ahead.
Yes.
Very good. Irad, first of all, thanks a lot for doing this. It's been very informative. My question is about the use of profiles and how those, if you just have one installation and you're using different profiles, how does that are the different profiles distinguished in the contact logs at all? Are they consolidated, or are they separated by profile?
No, so the only thing that VAR IC, well, it depends. Let me say this, it depends. Some things are shared, something can be are common. For example, all the settings here, everything that you see under settings, this is distinct. This is different for each and every profile, meaning that I can create a profile with my TS850, and I can create a profile with my IC7300, and I can use different VARA modems because it will redirect it to different modems. I can define different behavior or of some sort, and I can even, we have a parameter in the ini file, which is in advance. It's not up here. You can even use a different database. So in the end, what actually happens, so VAR IC has, let me just open this again, one moment. So VAR IC has this configuration file. All the configuration is kept in this file. So for each and every profile, what you need to do is to just duplicate this, call it VAR IC EDM.ini, and you have just created a new profile. Now you can edit it either manually or through the application. It doesn't really matter. But let me just show you some of the parameters here. So most of the parameters that you see in this file are reflected on the settings tab, but there are some that are not. For example, where is the, one second. There is the hand play. Where is that? We have also a parameter for the database file. SQL. I don't remember it. I'll try to look it up, and I'll send to Robert. You can also tell VAR IC where your VAR IC database resides, meaning that you can every profile can write to its own database, so it will store it separately. Now, in order to quickly switch, all I have to do is now go to profiles here. I see my EDM, VAR-AC EDM here. I'm going to double click it. VAR-AC will kill itself and we'll relaunch with this profile. Now, if you do any changes in the settings, like now let's set it to this rig, to direct it to this modem, it will be stored in this ini file of the VAR-AC EDM. So it's now stored only here. So most of it is separate. Some are identical, most of it is separate. I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very handy. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Marty, if you could lower your hand and mute, thank you. Any other questions? We certainly want to hear from every one of you. Doesn't matter what the question is, as long as it's about VAR AC. This is the time. All right. Irad, you had on one of your initial slides, you had two VARA modems going. One was active, so to speak, working with VAR AC, and the other one was monitor feature.
Right.
I understand what the monitor feature is, so could you do two things for us, please? One, explain what is the monitor feature for those who may not know what it is, and then two, how did you have both of them running at the same time? What were the connection points?
All right. I got this a lot. This is a quite popular question. Just move this aside. All right. First of all, on our forum, I encourage you guys to explore it. There is a very good note about this. One second. Where's that? Monitoring the frick. Okay. Oh, I remember. Sorry. It's under the manuals or manuals and troubleshootings. There's a post here. I think it's about monitor. Where's that? I don't even remember where I put it. Anyhow, or monitoring. Let me do this. Never mind. So this is how it works. Basically, the VARA modem. This is the limitation in the VARA modem. The VARA modem, which is this thing that you now see, can operate only in one mode. Either you're in a monitoring mode or you're not in monitoring. You cannot do both. I wish it could have done both, so I could one second. Hello? Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
One second, guys. I lost you here. Can you hear me now?
You're back.
Okay. So in order to hear what is on the frequency, you can tell VAR-AC to launch a secondary modem. Everything got stuck here. Zoom is killing my PC. 1 second. Let me just relaunch it. Is way too much for my poor PC to do. So you can launch two simultaneous VAR-AC VARA modems, and VAR-AC will configure each to do what it needs to do. So here is. Let me just grab the monitoring modem on screen. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Wow. My PC is at 100% and nothing moves. Wow.
Okay. All right, let's do it this way. One, are you manually starting up that second VAR modem? Or did you say, just to clarify, is VAR AC triggering off that second modem?
It's VAR-AC that does it.
Okay, now is that a separate instance of VAR AC, or is that something within VAR AC?
No, it's a single VAR-AC installation. Under the settings, if you go to the settings, you will find a place where you set the primary VARA modem. and then a secondary optional monitoring modem. So what you actually need to do is to duplicate the VARA modem directory. Like in my case, I have the C drive / VARA, and then I have C / VARA / monitor. And then I redirect VARAC to both directories. VARAC will do the rest. It will configure each of those VARA modems in the right configuration, and it will launch them simultaneously.
Excellent. All right, just to help along, David, is that something we've covered, or would we want to do a new learning module about that?
We have covered that. And I wanted to go back to, I think Dave New had a question, but I don't see his hand up. Greg had, the second part of Greg's question to start with was, is it possible to have some more forms built in, I think, from Irad's and for the ICS forms?
Absolutely. I just picked 4 to start with. If you tell me exactly what forms you're interested, I'll be more than happy to include. I must say, I'm not an MCOM guy. I have never participated in a single MCOM drill. I just hear what you guys need, and I do it on my spare time based on my prioritization. So adding another ICS form out of the box is an easy thing for me. Just point it out to me, and I'll make sure it's in the list.
Terrific, great, thank you.
All right, very good, David. Thank you. Dave New, go ahead. Got to mute. There you go.
Yep. Okay. And let me put the hand down. I noticed with these multiple INI file profiles that anytime that you exit VARAC and start it up again, it always goes back to the original profile. Is there any way to make it so that if the last profile you were using was EDM, that when you start it up again, it'll come back up in the EDM profile? Or is that a complex mess?
It's a complex mess, but it is doable in another way. If you do, you can write your own script to do this, but basically, if you run VARAC like this, right? Let's say you go to your VARAC directory.
You're no longer screen sharing.
Oh, sorry. But screen sharing kills my screen. But I'll do it now. So if you go to C/VARAC and you call varac.exe, if you click enter, it will launch as normal. But if you give it as a parameter, the varac-edm.ini, it will launch with this profile. So what you can do is to create this batch file on your desktop.
Yeah.
When you click it, it will launch in EDM. When you click that one, it will launch with the other one.
Okay, thank you.
And just so everybody knows, I'll work with David. We'll put together a quick little cheat sheet about how to do that for those who don't know how to use Windows command level operation.
Otherwise, you can see I just tuned in for a QSO. On the VARA monitoring screen, I start to capture what's going on that frequency.
All right, so for those of you who don't know what monitoring is doing, it's intercepting and decoding whatever it can along the way, just to take a look. When you're in monitor mode, it does nothing but turn on the ears and nothing else. Thank you, Irad. Then one round of applause. Irad, thank you so much for spending the time with us. We thank you for, first, just taking the time, 2, putting together a fabulous presentation, packing in a lot, and we can then view it again as needed, and 3, taking the time for all the questions and the very good answers that you gave us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, Rory. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Shalom.